Wow. Welcome back here to the We Are segment. I am so excited and truly honored and blessed to have these two incredible women. I can't believe I'm on the same row as these ladies. We have Liza Borches, President and CEO of Carter Myers Automotive, and Danelle Delgado, coined the millionaire maker and co-founder of Engage Training. But to me, she is the 0 0 day butt kicker because I have her in my head constantly when I don't feel like doing something. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. I'm just honestly so excited that you get to pour into all the women that are going to be watching. So thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having us and for what you're doing for all those ladies out there. We need each other. We need more people fixing crowns for one another.
I totally
Maybe this is gonna be
agree.
fun.
Oh, I cannot. Yes, 100%. I'm going to dive right into it though, because I think that that's really important that we maximize our time with you, because you all have golden nuggets that you drop constantly, and I want the ladies to learn as much as they can. Not just the women, actually, the men too, because we all can learn from each other. Can either of you share a pivotal moment in your career that made you realize the importance of increasing women's representation in the automotive space?
I'll let you start, Liza. She's the reason I'm in the automotive space, and so I'll let her
So
start.
that was your pivotal moment right there. No, but go ahead, Liza.
Yes.
Well, first off, I don't think that there's a pivotal moment because since the moment I've been in this industry, it has been just obvious to me that we have so many intelligent, smart, hardworking, passionate women in this country who don't know about the careers in our industry. You know, I obviously have been involved in the industry my whole life, but when I came back to actually work in the retail side of the business, there were a couple of disappointing moments that I think maybe spurred my energy and passion to say we have to change this. We did have a leader in our organization many years ago that told my dad he would never work for a woman. So he was not with us very long, and that even to have someone in this industry that thought that way surprised me. I think that was the first time I was like, wait, like this isn't just normal to have women in leadership. But then as I made my way through, there were just too many rooms where I was the only woman in the room. And it just didn't make sense to me. I said, there's nowhere else you go in this country that feels this way.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there was necessarily bad intent from men along the way, but we started as an industry that people were drawn to because they were passionate about cars. And maybe 50, 75 years ago, that was more men. And so we've had to fight hard for now. We're 100 years in business at CMA to make sure that people realize that what you need to be passionate about in this business is people. And that is not only men, but also a huge strength that women bring to our industry.
100%. And Liza lives and breathes this as well. I think she's one of the greatest humans I have ever seen just see people, right? It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you've done, all of these things. She'll look right into you, and everybody knows it. They'll step up, they'll rise no matter what. And I think that takes a very strong human being. And when unfortunately, in the world, it's taken a while for women to kind of stand up and own the place that they want to be in. And so there was a season of discomfort, and some people will have that. And I think that's them learning to become comfortable with themselves. But as you watch Liza stand in that power, it rises everyone. Every man needs to stand taller and become more of who they can. Every female aches to have the presence and the wisdom that she does. And so I think the more women we have in environments where that is welcome and loved and adored, the greater every man and every woman is going to be, right? A lot of, Liza bolted down after a speaking engagement, and I saw her come, and I was like, she either loved me or hated me, but she is on a mission. We'll find out, right? And she was just intense about asking me a question and saying, hey, we need to have further conversation because light recognizes other light. right? And so that
Mhm.
conversation led to me learning about the automotive industry. I didn't even know what the automotive industry was. I knew that I was afraid to buy a car. That's all I knew,
You
right?
along with a lot of women, Danelle. That I mean, that it's just not an industry that women necessarily had in their awareness about a great career path.
And I'll tell you, I went to an NADA conference, and on my Instagram stories, I had shared being at a table with all of, like, it was a table of, like, I don't know how I ended up there, but some of the most powerful men in auto. And I shared it around my stories. And I had two people message going, "What are you doing with all those sharks? You get away from that table. Get out of there. What are you doing in auto?" From like other men. Um,
Wow.
and I was like, these guys are amazing. I'm having the greatest conversation. What are you afraid of? And I didn't know where that came from. But it was someone trying to look out for me and saying, hey, that industry is really dangerous for a young female. And that was
Mhm.
his perspective. And it actually made me more interested in what was going on there. And I'll tell you what, every moment in the auto world, you know what? The auto world is the only one who didn't ever give me slack for how hard I wanted to work and how great I wanted to become. They actually encouraged it. Every other industry was like, when are you going to slow down? Don't you think you're missing out? Gosh, you're always everywhere. Like, it was kind of like backhanded slaps. And the automotive industry was inspired by me and loved it and honored it and wanted to know more about how I was this kind of human. And I will tell you, some of the greatest men I have ever met in my life are in the automotive industry.
Mhm.
And some of, like hands down, my core group of friends, when my son competed and did really well this weekend, that group of men is the group of men I texted. Just so you know, like, and I think women are missing that because other people think different things or say different things. And so I want people to know this is the greatest place for me to grow. And I kind of got in here, and people ask me now, do you just work with automotive? I'm like, no, but a lot, because I love it. So those were kind of like my pivotal moments, is people having opinions. I always try to go, is that correct or is that incorrect? If there's a strong opinion, I like to do more research, and the research just led me in further. So I want women to understand, if they truly want to become great, they have to be around the greatest. And some of the greatest I've met have been here.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I mean, I came into the space because of the awful car buying experiences that I had. So I know, and you say, all I knew about the automotive industry was that it was, you were scared to buy a car. So I came into that space to change that for women. And when I came into that space, I was surrounded by incredible men that are like, wow, you're out there, you're doing something different. Like, they really cheered you on for as much as you worked. And then as well saw that there's just a lack of that cheerleading happening in the eyes of women, and for women, by women, for each other, which I think is where a major disconnect is happening. And um, we don't a lot of women will speak negatively about the space. And I think the automotive industry is one of the greatest places to be, on planet Earth when it comes to a career. And I love that we have women like both of you that do have a voice and do have a platform for other women to hear your stories and hear you cheerlead. Uh, the positivity, because positivity breeds positivity. Like you said, Danelle, light attracts light. And if we could just continue to showcase how incredible it is for women, we will be able to attract more women into the space.
Yeah.
I'd love to know from both of your, because you both have a very different viewpoint, of the industry. How has the landscape, in both of your opinions, for women in the automotive industry evolved since you first started your career? And what changes do you believe still need to be made?
There's two things that I'll share. Where I've actually seen the greatest growth in the retail side of automotive has been in fixed operations for women. Um, we've seen incredible growth in the position of service advisor up to service manager. We have almost 50% of our service advisors across our 25 stores are women. The
Wow.
last 6 service managers that have either been 5 promoted, 1 brought in from the outside, were all women in our organization. We have now a couple of parts managers who are women. Our one body shop has a manager who's a woman. We have more technicians, female technicians, than we've ever had. So I'm seeing a lot of success happening on the fixed operations side of our business. We've now also had one of our recent general managers who was promoted came from fixed ops. She was a service manager, then a fixed ops director, now a general manager. Where I think that we still have work to do is in the sales side of our organization. Um, I've noticed that we get women up into an F&I manager position, or I shouldn't say we. They earn the right to move into these roles, and around the departmental leadership side, we tend to either be losing them outside the industry or outside of our company, and that is a concern and a focus of mine. We haven't been able to consistently grow past like a 20% of our sales force being women. We've kind of been stuck there and had too much turnover. So we're really studying, trying to understand what are the factors that are leading to that. Why have we not had as much success on the front of the dealership as we have in parts and service? I think I know a few of the answers, but it's something that we have to change. So that's where we've had success. And the other thing that I'll mention around what has created some of that success is we really studied, where are these women finding us? How are they finding a service advisor position and ultimately getting promoted into leadership back there? And what we found was only 3% of them actually came from a job posting. 97% of the women that came up through our organization came because they were either a referral from an existing associate, they had some sort of relationship with our company. Either they were a customer, a vendor partner, a community partner. What do I say? Relationship, referral, or reputation. They've gotten to know our company through our reputation in the community. And so they understand that it's not just about a transactional car buying or servicing experience. So reputation, referral, or relationship, that's how women are finding us. So we've had that success in fixed ops. Now I got to figure out how to make sure we translate that to the front of our dealerships as well.
And we must. I've built sales teams for 10 years, and my greatest salespeople were these females who cared about humans so much. And obviously that's what Liza lives and breathes. And so I'm always trying to pull my women connections in sales over because of the giants they are. But I'll tell you this is how I've seen it evolved. And I always make sure, if I see a challenge, I just want to be a part of the solution. So Liza, this is how Liza and I talk. She is one of the most phenomenal humans you will ever meet in your life. And every time my phone rings, Liza, my kids laugh because they're like, it's the only one she answers in the middle of everything. And I love it. And my kids love her just as much. But and Liza has always led this way. She has spoken about women in automotive and how important it is, just to bring even more depth to the groups, right? But we both were talking about how we were a part of these groups online that were women in automotive. And I said, Liza, I'm sorry, I had to hop out of these groups. It was such negativity and Liza goes, man, I feel like I cannot opt out of them. And I hate that this is happening and that so many women are just sharing all these things. And so we got together and we said, well, we can either see the problem or we can be the solution. We're going to start a group that doesn't allow it, that teaches this, that's doing this, because what I want people to know is it's not women in automotive groups. It's women who need growth, who will not help one another, because any woman who is growing and on a journey is going to encourage another woman. They're going to see her, they're going to see her challenges, they're going to be kind to her, right? And if you have to bash someone else or say this is happening to me, I'm not saying bad things don't happen, but they don't just happen in automotive. They happen every day in every household around the world, in every industry. So don't be thinking you're special in that area. But what fixes it is people who are committed to growth. That's why CMA has their own growth academy. That's why they grow so fast and expand so much and have such a great name for themselves. That's what we've talked about for the last 5 years at CMA. And Liza went and built it. And then we said, hey, we just need a place for women to come and grow and cheer for each other and work their way in. We're going to bring in female and male leadership. We're going to show them the right people, because there's good and bad in every industry. There's good and bad in everything. But if you talk about the bad and you aren't part of the solution, you're the problem, right? We are the problem. It's us when we do that. And so I think that's how it's evolving, as people have had enough of naysayers in this world. The internet has given people and ability to understand that negative people attract negative experiences and
Mhm.
positive people attract positive experiences. So Liza and I were just committed to create a space where we could rise up leadership, those women who were like, I'm done here, I'm ready to rise, I'm ready to grow, show me how. And so we took the training that we built through CMA and we built it for everyone. Talk about a generous female cheering on every dealer everywhere. That is Liza. She said, I just want to make it accessible to everybody. Let's give everybody a shot to grow and lead and heal a part of the industry that needs help.
Well, I think that that's probably one of the greatest evolutions, Danelle, is that the training that we used to get in automotive, which has always been on the lower end, right? We haven't necessarily been an industry that has done a great job training, but it was always industry specific operational training. And I have seen in the last 10 years, maybe more so even in the last 5, as an industry, there are dealer groups and there are partnerships that have been created to offer more professional and personal development training. And that was almost unheard of in our industry. And so we've really seen that blossom. The team engaged training is a huge piece of that. There are other dealer groups doing some unique and progressive things in how they're pouring into their people. And that's a big evolution. My dad jokes, he's like, we just taught people how to sell a car and how to write a newspaper ad when they became a general manager to put the marketing in the newspaper. He's like, we didn't do any of this stuff about how do we help people be the best that they can be and how do we help them grow as humans. He's like, now he's all, I mean, my dad is the biggest cheerleader and advocate, but he's like, this is a different industry.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a different world, right? And I think people crave evolution, they crave growth. And when they don't have it, they'll lean into the other, right? But when they do have it, they'll talk about it. Just like reviews, Katie, the people who have bad things to say talk louder than the people who have
Yep.
good things to say. So we got to be a part of guiding the evolution that we want more good out there being talked about. And if they hear about it and they'll go there, other dealerships are going to be like, we have to do this or we won't grow, right? They're going to
Yeah.
go where they can be cared for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fully agree. And there was a study done. I believe I'm in the camp that more women will bring more women, but more women will bring them with positive stories. And 67%, there's a study done, 67% of women my age and older will accept a job offer based off of seeing a female representative in the space, but it jumps to 76% for the Gen Z's and the younger generations. And so there is no other option now. If these women aren't going to see a woman represented, they're not going to choose the industry to work in. And if it's not positive, then they're going to go somewhere else. So it is on us to share a different story and to sing from the rooftops that it is a great space. But I think in order to do that, what you both are doing with Team Engage Women in Auto is extremely important, because that allows them, as you said, Danelle, to like heal themselves, to look at things, personally and professionally in a more profound way, in order to be that woman that's going to put their hand out and say, come with me, versus, there's not enough, it's with the scarcity mentality. There's not enough for me. So therefore there's not enough for you. I'd love to know how Team Engage, you can talk a little bit about what it is, but also how do you help these women get to that point?
Yeah. The interesting piece is, as I look at it, right? And you started to say it, Katie, like the most important thing for a human is they start taking life and conversations and communications and moments professionally and not personally. They have to become these unoffendable humans that understand people speak from their knowledge, their wits, where they are. Sometimes they're to entertain, sometimes it's conversation. And the world is very offended, highly offended. Look at all the political things going on and whatever. And so what I learned, I think I did 3 or 4 years, Liza, of training live with all of you. Is that right?
I think it was about 4 years.
4 years. So we did 4 years. This was live training every week. I was working with the whole staff, from the managers to the sales team, to everyone being involved. And I learned about the pains of the industry. I learned about the patterns of the industry. I learned about the tempers in this industry. I learned about how people are used to doing just what they have done. I learned about the history, right? I had to lean so far into understanding the space. What I learned is it's the same thing in every industry, but a little bit. I don't know if I'm just more attached to the auto industry because I love it so much, or because I have more knowledge there from 4 years of work with Liza. But this training we developed is to grow a human into the most unoffendable, strong, based on their foundations, people creating their own movement so they understand how they interact with others, says everything about their future, right? As well as these humans who live and breathe Liza Borches as well, which is uncommon care. If you can take a human and grow them into a human who cares before they're concerned, right? Who communicates before they're offended. If you can grow them into these humans, and that's just helping people over their patterns that they were taught that are ineffective, inefficient, and detrimental to their future. So I took the training I had done live for 4 years, not just with Liza, with other teams and companies as well, in every industry, even with entrepreneurs and CEOs and all these VIP clients. And it took me 3 years, by the way. Liza was very clear on, Danelle, this is amazing. You have to create this for everybody. And I took that very seriously, not to develop something puny. But it took 3 years to develop a program that was a 52-week program that was 15 to 30 minutes of training every single week, short, to the point, how people are used to consuming information on the internet, right? It's like a YouTube video, but it helps them do the work on themselves daily. That 1 year from now, I mean, I'm not teaching weight loss. These people are losing 150 pounds, 50 pounds. They're changing how they feel about themselves. And then it changes how they show up at work, right? I'm not doing that, but the training is taking the ugly that resides in all of us and building us into really strong humans. And Liza gave me a chance to give that program that I knew worked wings. And yeah, I'll let Liza talk about it as well, but that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You're growing a force of humans and how they approach life.
Would you guys agree that our industry attracts some of the most high energy, passionate, driven people?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And how often
Yes.
do we tell people you've got to control your emotions, you've got to manage your emotions?
When
And
they've gotten there by out of control emotions.
right.
Yeah.
But what we have going for us in this industry is we have hundreds of thousands of highly passionate, high energy, excitable people. And what we want to do, what we need to do, both for men and for women, is help us learn how to use our emotions as a strength and not something that holds us back. And that's going to be the difference in automotive. We've got awesome people. Some people's emotions end up being a handicap because they don't figure out how to harness them properly, and other people figure out how to lean it in, and it's a strength for them and is going to be their absolute greatest asset as they continue their career through automotive. So that was just one little piece. Is Katie frozen?
She is. But it was an excellent answer. We'll wait for Katie.
I had myself muted so I didn't ruin the great conversation. Yeah, I assume Katie will be right back. You're so right, Liza, about the people and the energy and emotions in automotive. Like it's one of the things that makes the industry so great is the energy and the fact that a lot of times you do get to see those raw emotions out of people, right? And not necessarily as accepted now as it was, right? Everybody wants level now. They want just
we don't want level. We just want to, again, use them as a strength in the right way.
Yes.
Exactly. And there's work that has to be done to make sure that you're using them in a positive, correct way.
Controlled emotions. It's the uncontrolled ones that are a little scary.
Yeah.
Yes. And we do have some of that in our industry for sure.
It is interesting. The automotive space, out of all that I've been in, it has the most like anger and temper I have ever seen out of any of them. I think it's because it was more welcome. Like it was more trained. Like you can't imagine an insurance agent screaming at someone. Right? Like it's just a
But for
different.
some reason that was okay in automotive. Oh my
But
gosh.
for some reason, it was very strong men. And hey, do what I tell you. You'll figure it out. Like it was kind of a feed yourself mentality.
Yeah. Well,
And
one of the
yeah,
things that I feel about that is like one of the great things we talk about with automotive is you can get in with zero education.
yeah,
But I feel like that sometimes works against us. Number one, it works against us because people get in with zero education and feel like they don't need to develop anything else because they didn't need an education to start. But also during that education, you're learning some of that stuff, right? You're learning how to behave in other settings and business settings.
And I always hesitate to make that comment on a live stream
Yeah.
because it's very real and I think about it a lot.
Mhm.
I don't want people who haven't had that level of education to hear that and think that it's either being judged or it's a negative, because we do a fantastic job of giving people opportunities who haven't had higher levels of education. But there is reality to the fact that some of the things that you learn through your education process are those intangible
Yes.
communication skills. Oh,
Yeah.
Katie's here.
And Katie's back, so I'm gonna back out.
I am
Well,
so
more-
sorry. I don't know what happened there. Oh my gosh. I apologize. How do you think women who do have this insane amount of energy as well as knowledge and gumption that come into this space, how do you think they can harness it to use it for good, to pave a smoother path, to take those risks? What are some, I guess, tips that you can give them to get them started?
So Danelle, I think you should answer this on just a couple of a sneak peek on some of the training that we're doing through Team Engage with this group of 50 women. And then we can talk about who these 50 women are. But I think a couple of tips from you would be perfect here.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, I think every human needs a couple of things. One, the right information. So training, investing in themselves is highly important. It means they value themselves enough to know where they're headed. And once they kind of lean into that, they actually find more of themselves. So one, they got to find something they believe in to learn and grow and invest in themselves. It's like when you lay your credit card down for a pair of shoes, you know how you're going to feel in the pair of shoes. Like it sounds funny, or whatever it is, or the car or the thing. Like whenever anything is new, you feel great in it, right? And I think women have to do that for themselves. They have to say, I am worth this. I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow. And when they do that, that's step number one. Number two, they have to have a community around them that is different than the community they're currently in. Your current community has grown you to where you are. You need a community of people you can chase. Of people who are achieving bigger than you, of having higher conversations. As much as we women are independent, bad to the bone, super women, I hate to admit it, I am only as great as the people around me, even when I'm great. Does that make sense? Like I need Liza in my life. I need that. I need her to be able to call me out on this stuff, because I think most people are in communities where their people will listen to their excuses. They'll listen, they'll allow them. I need a self-care day. Oh, you take it. I'd be like, you need a self-care, you need a win. Let's grow today, right? Like let's lean in. Like, I don't want to run. Liza sends me a message going, how was your run? She knows I haven't done it yet. I still have to go do it, but I have to do it in order to message her back. Does that make sense? And so we need a level of accountability of people who will not listen to our weak moments, and they'll call us into our greatest ones. That's where we find it. And we need an element of fun. Those are my three. Fun is something women are so fun. They are so fun. And I think it can get burned out of them with having to drive hard and feel like we have to achieve this thing in order to be worthy of a man's world or a woman's world or achievement or any of those kinds of things. I'll tell you what, I was in a room full of NBA scouts this week, and the greatest one of all time was in the room. And his right hand man, who was, I had no idea, by the way, Olympic athlete, 3-time NCAA champion, like all these people in the room, I had no idea who they were, other than I was the shortest person in the room for sure, and one of the only females because it was all basketball people for my son. And one of them got my number, and he messaged and he said, "You sure light up a room. Do you see how people change when you speak to them?" He said, "You are the greatest element of fun in a stressful moment I've seen." And this is something I didn't see about myself, but it was something I learned along this journey, that the element of women that is fun and playful will bring people to life. And if they don't learn to embrace that while they're doing hard things, they're missing one of their greatest skill sets. So those are 3 random tips that I think are that were really important to me, finding who I was, standing up, even in the automotive space. I'll tell you, the first time I walked in with Liza's group of men who were like, "What is this younger than us blonde going to tell us?" Like, I felt that. I don't think that was given to me. I think I felt that myself. I was nervous, and I felt like I needed to be a hammer and mean and forward and whatever. And then what I learned is they needed me. They needed light. They needed fun. They needed hardcore talent. They needed all those things that I actually was. And so if you're in this community, people calling you into that, but you are also the extra that we women are, that's where you win big.
And I think that's one of the biggest messages, Katie, that we are bringing to this Team Engage group of women is we have to be authentic to the strengths that we bring to this industry. And the reason we need more women in this industry is to complement the fantastic men that we have in this industry. I think for many years, and I see it even today, a lot of women, it's one of 2 things. Either they're trying to do it like the men, they're trying to be like men, they're trying to show the same strengths that men show, because those are the leaders they're seeing in their dealerships. Or 2, it's more of a victim mentality of, I'm the only one. Everybody in here is a man. They don't appreciate what I bring to the table. So we want to help women stand tall in that authenticity, that the strengths that we have often are different than men, and they're needed. We are all needed in order for our companies, our dealerships, our communities to be the best that they can be.
And can I just add one thing to that? When people want me to talk about women, a lot of times I sometimes hesitate, because I'm like, I don't want it to be all about, right? And so what I want to share is that just what Liza said, we all need each other so much. All of my mentors were men, but I wasn't comfortable enough to learn from them until I believed in myself, right? And so it's all, listen, you're going to need something from men. You're going to need something from women. The separation is not the accurate part. It's the confidence, the competence, the trusting yourself enough to be in a room with either and be great. And that's what we want to give people, because I know what the men complain about, right? I know they say we're emotional and I go, yeah, we are. So what if we guided that in a great way? And they're like, I love how passionate Danelle is. I'd work with her any single day, right? That's what we have to develop. So it's the uncontrolled in us and the uncontrolled of them that we have to learn to work with. But we better become great so we can be in the room with both and learn from both. My male mentors are why I am who I am. They gave me faith in myself as a woman as well. They did not let me back down in front of other men, because they're like, you're better, you're great, you go get it, right? And they gave me that. And the women that I helped do the same, and I was like, stop separating yourself from this. This is not the thing. The thing is your confidence and light will bring out so much from them. We do have to learn to work that together. And I think Liza and I saw a light that women wanted to come together and find that so that they could step into the space with both and be great.
Well, the reality is why we started this is because Danelle called me out. For 3 years, I work with her one-on-one each year to kind of set my own trajectory and my goals and direction. And I think for 3 years, I'd been saying, I am committed to growing more female leaders in this industry. And finally, the 3rd year, she's like, so what are you going to do about it?
Of course she did.
There's action behind it. And I said, all right, well, Danelle, you've now created Team Engage, which came from me challenging her. And now she's challenging me back. I said, I think that needs to be the backbone. And what we put together was we have 50 women in this community. 25 of them are from Carter Myers Automotive, from CMA, our company, and 25 from other dealership groups all around the country. And so we have 50 women with every single dealership position in leadership represented. Body shop manager, parts manager, service manager, controller, sales manager, finance manager, customer experience manager, general manager, dealer principal, corporate trainer, directors of marketing, recruiter, service advisor. And we've got it all covered. Every single position is represented. And so what Danelle is training them on through Team Engage is really the personal and professional development piece. I am also there to support them on any operational questions and connections, so that if somebody in a sales department is trying to learn fixed ops, they've got people in this group that they can be leaning on and asking. I have someone in the group who's a dealer principal, but she has one store and she would like to grow the way that I have with CMA. And so she and I have been having a lot of one-on-one conversations and giving her new connections. So we've got all types of things happening in this community with Team Engage training as our backbone. We have monthly live coaching calls, and we're going to have guest speakers throughout the year. A lot of men who are guest speakers also pouring into this group. And then we're going to learn so much. We're already learning that I'm committed to sharing out to other dealer groups to say, here's what I'm hearing. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's what as an industry we need to be doing to continue to invest to help these women achieve what they're capable of and what they want and desire.
Do vendors get to be part of this?
We very clearly said this time it's just for retail women working in dealerships, Katie. And the reason that we did this, because we had a lot of vendor partners.
No, I think it's fantastic. I'm just poking some fun. But yeah, it eventually, you would think, to change the industry in the whole, it would be really cool to widen that net and widen that scope.
And I really felt like there were a lot of industry groups that do some great things for women around, WOCAN and women in automotive and some of the manufacturer groups. But so many of those groups are heavy on the manufacturer and vendor partner side and not as much on the retail side, which is why I said this is just going to be retail, because we need a space specifically for these women who are in each other's shoes, understand what each other is going through, and can support each other, be accountability partners in a similar environment.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was just like a selfish ask. It was for me. I'm like, can I join? Can I be a fly on the wall? I think that's fantastic.
We do have lots of groups going through it, and just so you know, so we can talk about how to be a part of that for you, but for others as well.
Well, for others too. Yeah.
Dealerships going through it. I've got vendor partners, marketing companies going through it. We've got dealer alchemists going through it, and they're crushing their goals, right? So you've got all of these vendor partners who want access to great things. And I think that's the thing, is when you have great things, we share these tools with people.
Yeah.
I told Liza, we have so many companies growing. I'm like, I just want everybody to have access to the right information, because I was that young, hungry, driven human who said, just show me what to do and I will do it. Please show me. Not very many people were willing to help because they're trying to grow themselves. And so Liza and I were like, we have to make this accessible to people, if their dealers are on board with growth or not, if they are, with vendors, with anyone. I simply was one of those hungry people who just wanted someone to help. And so we really do want the information to be available for anyone. And it's true that most people have a hard time doing the simple work, and the simple work is where all of your answers are.
Yes.
Right? The simple moves you make every single day. It's just like sweat daily. Well, you're going to get a healthier, awesome body if you sweat daily. There's no one who sweats daily that is overweight and struggling. Does that make sense? Like it's the same thing of if you eat fast food every single day. Look at all the movies that have been put out about people who die and have heart disease because they did that. So it's the same thing with, if you grow yourself inside your industry, you're going to get promoted. You're going to earn more. You're going to affect more lives. And the only one who gets hurt when we don't do any of this is everybody who matters to us. Everybody who matters to us hurts when we don't get the right information. So like anyone who watches this and complains about something in their life, my guess is you have a way to fix it. We have to do that, right?
Yeah.
Let's complaining, more doing. Anytime you look in the mirror and you're not happy, we can fix that too. I had a dear friend. I was complaining about something about my health. I looked in the mirror and I said, "Oh," and she was like, "Well, you can fix that if you want." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want surgery. I don't want this." And she was like, "Oh, well, then don't talk about it. That's annoying, right? Like either fix
Yeah.
it or do." And those harsh things were actually like people who loved me. And I'm like, that's right, it's my life. I want to grow, I want to be great, I want to do all these things. And so like you watch Liza go and do that and grow and change everything. She never complains, and everybody follows that. That's why that group is so loved. You need to be around people who put their money where their mouth is, their heart is on their sleeve, and they live it. And you will not be able to walk around underachieving anymore.
Katie, I want to challenge the women who are going to be watching this in two ways. First, the best solution to the complaint or the excuse that, well, there just aren't enough women in this industry. Each one of us is responsible for going and sharing our story and encouraging another woman to join our industry. That's step one.
Bring one a year into the industry.
Every one of us is responsible for bringing one in with us. And then the second thing that we can do is make sure that we are connecting with men in a way that they see authentically why it's better to have more women in their organization. I walked into one of our showrooms the other day and I realized due to some changes and turnover, we didn't have a single female in our showroom. And my general manager, great guy, absolutely supportive of having women in this industry, but he didn't see it. He just didn't see it. So our responsibility is to bring more women in, help others see the path, and make sure that together we wake up 5 years from now having a completely different makeup of associates across automotive, because we can do it, and we will all benefit from it. The men, the women, our customers, our communities.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We have to be the asset that people need, male or female. When you're an asset and people love having you in a room, right? Like I always tell women, I go, you feel like they don't like you. You feel, as they're telling me this, and I go, you feel like they think you're a drag. And I was like, are you being a drag? Can I just ask? What if you like worked your face off to be the one that they loved? What is their favorite? I asked, how do they like their coffee? They didn't know. They're like, I don't bring the coffee. How demeaning. I was like, well, I still bring people coffee. I don't think that's demeaning. I think that's kind, right? And so it's just giving people different perspectives and said, how can I be an asset to this room that I'm entering today? You do that enough, you gain respect for yourself and how you show up. Respect will be given back. There's no ignoring it. I've never met someone who's like, I'm so respectable, I'm so amazing, I'm so this, and they're hated, or they're mistrusted, or they're, deferred. It's not like that. The world is different now. Respect is returned. And so I just want people to be brave enough to show up like that. Liza and I hanging out with each other has done nothing but scale each of our lives every single day. And I want everyone to be around that. The people who will scale your life every single day. It's just like you getting both of us to do this. We don't do this very often.
No.
And that's because you've been showing up every single day. You are fighting for this as well. And we're like, great, another woman out there pushing forward. Let's go.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I think that if I kind of boil down and distill down what you just said, I think what I take back from that is that eating that humble pie is extremely important. It's like, what do I need to do to change? Because if I change, the world changes. If I change, my circumstance changes. If I change, the industry changes. If I'm going to complain about something, but I can do something different about it, then all of a sudden it's different. And I feel like it's a lot of folks don't like men or women. Men do it more readily than women do, but to eat that humble pie and to look in the mirror and say, okay, I need to change. I need to level up. I need to do these things. And so I feel like with Team Engage, women in automotive, they have a safe space in order to do that. And I think that that is the first step. I mean, I can only speak personally, but if I didn't change, I would be in the situation that I was in, and I wouldn't be here on this call with you and have the gumption enough to send that text and be like, hey, do you want to come on to help women and spread the word? And so I think that it's extremely important that women are surrounded by women that are genuinely there to say, with love, get your head out of your you know where, and keep moving forward. So how do women, first of all, are you capped at 50? Are you taking on new women? Like how do women find out how to be part of this? Because I know that, I mean, I know I'm going to be texting you right after this, but like how do how do women in the dealership capitalize on working with you?
Yeah, for sure. I think if they hear this, all they need to do is send an email to Danelle@teamengage.com. And we'll take it. This group is capped where we have it because we want them to go all the way through where, this system together.
Yeah.
But we do have other systems and people going through. And next year we will have a larger group as well. And there will be a community they can be a part of ongoing if they just want to stay in that breath of fresh air. This group is here to serve. It's here to teach them those things that I think they need to do, invest in themselves, lean on themselves, whether it's you or your team doing those kinds of things. But Liza and I are growing this, and it will be at a scaled rate because it needs to be there. And we won't ever be able to complain about it. We're just going to create the space for it. So, and there's a lot of other groups doing great things for women out there too that have been so generous and kind to us. So we're going to collaborate and do fun things with them. But for sure, Danelle@teamengage.com, and our team will help them either develop a group for them or a way that they can get the information too.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Liza, it's so fun. Let's change the world.
That's the goal.
That is.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for your time. It is valuable. You're always dropping golden nuggets of wisdom every time you open your mouth. I know for myself, I can probably speak for every woman watching this, or every man and woman watching this, that we are just grateful for the trailblazers that you are, because you make us all want to be better. So thank you for showing up every day.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Katie. Thanks for having us.
Amazing.
Liza.
Bye, guys.
Bye.